Alrighty, let's do this.
It's like you're like up there on this huge cloud.
It feels that way. Doing all the necessary adjustments. Welcome to the Anna Hummel Show. Anna's Law, Kevin's Law combination. Kevin, thank you so much for staying over. We're getting started a little early today because Kevin and I started talking after the show, and he starts telling me, we're updating each other on each other's lives, and we start talking about, intermittent fasting, something I'm very passionate about. And I said, can we save this for the air? And you said, yeah, no problem. And I said, excellent. Perfect.
Well, but that's the thing. And I think that a lot of people, and I go back to like 20 years ago, and I would come in because naturally when you see your friend, you want to talk about what you've been doing.
Sure.
And I used to do it with Bubba. I'd come in and I go, let me tell you a story. He'd say, stop. Because if you tell the story first, it organically is never the same.
It's never as good the second time around.
But you can't explain that. You can't recreate it, and you don't know it. And for years, I thought he was just being a jerk.
Right.
But you don't know it until you're in it, and then you kind of go, "Oh, this is why you do it." So
there's a spontaneity factor that's really hard to kind of put into words, but it's just the timing is just off. It just never is good. You never get the genuine response from the other person the second time around. You have to go like, "Oh, really?" Like you have to pretend you hadn't heard the story.
It doesn't work.
It's just not the same. But yeah, I mean, we can talk. I don't know how much time you have. I know you're a very busy man, so I don't want to hold you up.
That's
but
okay.
I'm happy to have you as long as as long as you're willing to stay. So tell us about. I'll just start with what I've been interested in probably for the last 2 years. Is I've really switched from more of a aesthetic kind of obsession with, working out, fitness, like what's going to make me, the thinnest, the hottest, the this, the that, to a complete 180 to longevity. And I know we both kind of have a crush on Peter Attia. I think that's a thing we've discussed
I think that's,
in the past.
Yeah, absolutely.
And part of that world is, the cryotherapy, the saunaing, the intermittent fasting. And I told you that, I'm big on that. Oh, hey, Brian from Philly, $20 on the Cash App. Thank you very much. Not Cash App, Super Chat. But one of the main tenets of kind of taking care of yourself, and something that I preach and people are annoyed with me talking about because I talk about it ad nauseum, is the intermittent fasting. And you said something that completely surprised me. You looked at me and you go, I've done 2 72-hour fasts.
Yes.
I just stared at you, just absolutely crushing my record by a full day 2 times. So why did you do it? What prompted you to do it? And what prompted you to do it twice?
I know. So I think to do that, I think that the thing that is great about life and bad about life is I feel like I learn a lot of really good lessons too late.
Interesting.
And as you know, and I overdo it, but I share so much with my kids and my family about our discoveries. And a lot of times it's collective discoveries. And one of the things that I think that kind of is a segue into this conversation is what has value. And when I say what has value in people's lives? And for a lot of time, I think I've got it really wrong. And what I mean by that is I always presumed that my goal is to provide a situation, an environment for me that is comfortable, that is very comfortable, like standpoint of like sitting by a pool in a resort drinking pina coladas.
Right.
Like that should be my goal. That is, I'm working to be in a situation where I'm completely comfortable, where I can sleep in, do what I want, be very relaxed, get massages on the beach, and eat what I want, and sort of not gluttony, but like what like that should
lean
be the goal.
into pleasure.
Yes, exactly. Great, thank you. Mm-hmm. Then, as I kind of explore things, I realize what really has value are things that are difficult, because we as humans in a society, I think, have got this wrong. And it used to be sort of 90s mentality, get a 5,000 square foot house, get a plane, get a boat, all these things that we should want, get that $10,000 bag if you're a girl, get that whatever it is for the guy that you want. jewelry or these status symbol things. And now I've kind of come back, maybe not full circle, but more the things that have value are things that are difficult.
Right.
And in that, within my family, we've kind of each challenged ourselves to do hard things and take the difficult route. Mm-hmm. And the difficult route is hard. It's really, really hard. And I sat 2 nights ago with Duncan Punkin, and who is, for those who don't know, is my 6'6" West Point grad. And I think I shared with you, and many people don't know, he went to Furman, my undergrad, for 2 years and transferred to West Point. And in doing so, got 0 credit for those years and had to do another 4 years at West Point. Ugh. And he did that because it was hard.
Yeah.
And because it was right. And West Point is very, very difficult intentionally. But the issue is, now that it's over, was that the right path? And though it was really difficult, and he had to embrace the suck, and that's the kind of a West Point expression, mm-hmm. the value that that gave him in doing so, and why that was somewhat important. And just like that, you look at fitness, you look at lifestyle, you look at a lot of these choices, and what I errantly thought that the goal should be for this pleasure.
Yeah.
It's the exact opposite. So I started leaning into that.
Right.
From a fitness standpoint, I leaned it from life. I mean, running for Congress was not easy. That was really hard.
Sure.
But, the only not the only, some of the things that have really value to me are hard things.
Well, I think, and again, I've been doing a lot of work on myself for the last decade in terms of, challenging myself, learning new things. I mean, I feel like you name it, I've kind of looked into it to just see whether it's relationships, whether it's health, whether it's whatever. And some of the things that a lot of these people that I listen to have in common is that we're chasing the wrong bag, much like you were saying you were chasing, the resort lifestyle where you can eat whatever you want and you have servants and you have cool cars and houses and whatnot. And those things are great, don't get me wrong, but I think people assume that they should be chasing happiness when really they should be chasing fulfillment. And a lot of times, happiness is very fleeting. There's 20 times a day when I'm happy and 20 times a day when I'm sad and 20 times a day, whatever, that I'm feeling every which way. You're like, oh, I love this song. Oh, man, a red light. Oh, this is cool. Oh, I'm late. Oh, no, I'm on time. Okay, the traffic's fine. That those feelings and emotions are so transient that, you're never really going to bottle happiness up and have it all the time, even if your life is, essentially perfect from the outside. But fulfillment is much more hard to get a grasp on because, like you said, you don't just get fulfillment from winning the lottery.
No,
you don't get fulfillment from buying the new house, initially, but it fades. Yeah, it fades. But when you're like, wow, I impacted people's lives,
yes.
or I am a good father, or
yes.
a good husband,
yes.
or I do hard things and I can accomplish them. That sort of stuff really, really sticks with you and gives you a sense that you kind of always have with yourself. That's unlike happiness or sadness or depression or something like that. That's a bit more transient. Fulfillment is like, even at any point in the day when I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm not happy to be awake at 4:55 a.m. or whatever. But in that moment, you go, "Are you fulfilled?" I go, "Yeah."
But Anna,
yeah,
we're describing things that cannot be purchased.
Right.
They have to be earned.
Right. Right.
And guess what? It's not for the faint of heart, and it's not for the people. That separates the people that talk about it, the doers and the talkers. Mm-hmm. And you get so much more by doing. You get that there's just it's just an awesome feeling, even though it completely sucks in the moment.
Yeah,
you get so much reward out of it. It's hard to explain. So I went down the rabbit hole, and I still every day. One of the things that I've talked to a lot of friends about in the past is, for me personally, I feel, and this is sounding weird, not that I'm a failure, mm-hmm. but I feel I've not done anything. I feel I've not accomplished
anything or enough. Like you're never satisfied.
Well, enough. I feel like I've lived to such a small percentage of my potential. And I feel not like, But I always feel like I've really not done as much as I should or could do. And
do you get that from like comparing yourself to others, or
comparing myself to others from the standpoint of what they've accomplished, knowing that I had a higher potential? Maybe that's egotistically in my mind, but people, and I'm like, and also frustrated that I've not done the necessary work to get to where those folks are, knowing that I have the ability to do that. And it's very frustrating when you've given a sense of, I look at how much time I waste, and time's a huge commodity. I look at the efforts that I focus on that I shouldn't be focusing on. And then I try to keep bringing myself back to center of like
present.
What has value? What can I get value out of? Because when at the end of the day, when I work really hard on something, when I really go into something, when I really and it doesn't take that much time either.
Yeah.
We all think, oh, we don't have time to do it. Yeah, we do. We have time to do all amazing things. We all should be able to speak 7 languages. I haven't taken the time to do that. We should all read more books, right? I need to have time to do that. We all should sleep 8 hours a day, right? We can control that, right? We need to get rid of negative thoughts. We need to control our diet. We need to get rid of processed sugar. We need to. We need to work out. We need all these things that we need to do that we're not doing. Warren Buffett talks about that great. He has a video clip where he says, "Listen, everybody, I could give everybody a brand new car, but that's the only car I give you. Are you going to take care of that car?" Which is analogous your body and the value of health. And that led me to our pre-conversation about fasting.
Yeah.
And I really did a deep dive into the benefits of fasting, which I know you know because you've read about it. The release of the attacking on cortisol, the release of testosterone, the release of the cells, the
immune system reboot
that helps fight it, and that how your body then
and just getting into a fat burning state where you exhaust all your glucose reserves, and now you're actually burning stored energy on your body. I think that I've recently, probably in the last 5 or 6 months, I'm obsessed with metabolic dysfunction. Right. I talk about it all the time, and different facets of it, whether it be, for women, PCOS, that's almost like a form of diabetes, obviously diabetes, heart disease, hypertension, Alzheimer's, all these things that, people just think are inevitabilities. The more I learn, Kevin,
preventable.
I'm learning that they're fucking not, that all this is preventable, and that the system is working, not that I'm putting on my tinfoil hat, but but the system is working against us. There's no way in 2023, the more money that we keep throwing at all this research, the sicker we're getting. It doesn't make any sense, Kevin. It seems to be that the systems the powers that be want us to remain sick and get sicker, because those are where the profits lie. So
I'm not going to bite there, but I will
reel you in.
But I will say a couple things, some truisms.
Yeah.
Let's go with things that we know 1,000% that are not controversial in 2023. And I was talking to Missy, my sweet wife, the other night. We were going to see a movie, which we went to see Mission Impossible 2, which we haven't seen a movie in a theater in probably 5 years, but that's one of the things that COVID has probably killed early, which is sad because I go to movies. But my point is, we saw someone smoking out in the parking lot, which is
jarring.
In 2023, and we spent a a month in Eastern Europe, where a large sect of that population, especially in Serbia, high number of people that smoke. I mean, it was probably 80% of the people smoke. And they smoke, filterless cigarettes, they're rolling them and smoking them, chain smoking them. And the question becomes, in 2023, knowing what we know right now, no one ever should smoke, right?
Right.
I mean, that's just so simple.
Basic. Yeah.
Just things you would not do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like jumping out of a plane without a parachute. Things you would not do. Makes so much sense, right? Also, locally here, and I love my friends that drive that operate a motorcycle, but operate a motorcycle in Pinellas County makes no sense. Because of the number of, I think the life expectancy of someone on a motorcycle in Pinellas County is 6 years. And I'm exaggerating, but it's not because they're a bad driver, but they get hit. We've got a lot of bad drivers, and they get hit, and they don't have any protection. They die.
Mm-hmm. Or even if they do, I mean.
It's just very, very sad. I mean, go in the middle, go out west, go where there's not people, get away from it. but intra-city motorcycle driving. And I love my motorcycle driving friends. I think it's great. I embrace it. You have the freedom to do it if you want to. But my concern is, wow, you're putting yourself at a high risk. And I've had too many friends that's an issue. But you look at things like that, what I call low-hanging fruit, and you say, well, that's what we should do. You go into the sauna issue, and it's sort of right now, the data is crystal clear that if you get into a sauna X amount of minutes a week, you cut your chance of MIs, myocardial infarctions, heart attacks by 50%. You cut your stroke down by 50%. And it's not difficult to sit in a sauna, right?
No, not for me at least. Brian from Philly, $10. He says fasting cured his type 2 diabetes. That's fantastic. And it's free. No one is more Jewish than me in that regard. It's free, Kevin. You don't have to buy anything extra. You just have to not eat for a little bit longer. Sorry, continue.
So along those lines, I kind of said, what are the things that I can do that aren't difficult, that I can move into my everyday, that I need to do to make me a better person, to make me, to use the word, more fulfilled. I use the Asian term balance. They don't talk about happiness life. They talk about balance, that a balanced life is what we should move and strive for. And there's no such thing as happy. And when someone says, you're not making me happy, that's not the job to make you happy. Our goal not should be happy. We shouldn't be seeking pleasure. We should be thinking and doing hard things because hard things make us feel better anyway. Anybody who's gone to work and done a really good hard day work and feel really good about it, they felt really accomplished.
No one feels confident for no reason.
Yes.
You feel confident because you look back and you're like, oh, I did X, Y, Z. You have all the data points to suggest I'm a competent person.
Yes.
And I need to send you this clip. I don't know if you listen to Chris Williamson, and I'm sure you know who David Goggins is, but there's this it's a quote. I don't know if it's their quote or something, but they go, you don't gain confidence from just screaming self-affirmations at yourself in the mirror. You get it from having undeniable proof that you say who you say you are, which is through all the hard things that you've done. So me just looking in the mirror and going, you're amazing, you're awesome, you're fantastic, like that doesn't do anything. You got to go do some stuff. And you go, you know what? I was able to get choked out, and almost go under by a preteen. I can definitely handle a little bit discomfort while I'm sitting here in this traffic. I'm fine. Right. I'm good.
But see that you just described, which are actions.
Yeah.
And of course, the beginning of a 1,000-mile journey begins with one step. And so the fasting piece, I got into the weeds reading about it. And of course, I tend to be a type A personality. I can't do anything lightly. So my first two, and I'd done a little intermittent fasting. My concern right now is I want to have, coffee in the morning with cream in it. So that throws it off. But I have no problem waiting until like 1 o'clock to have my first meal. But I said, what if I incorporated a weekly fast as a way to kind of help the health piece? So I did a week in between. I did 2 72-hour fasts. So let me be completely transparent. I set it for a 72-hour fast. The first one I got to 57 hours. And at 57 hours, I was completely zoning out.
Okay.
Where I was like, I had no problem. This was me. A 24-hour fast for me was not a big deal.
Now, how much had you fasted prior to that? None.
0.
Like 12 hours to 14?
I mean, to by accident, nothing intentional.
Okay. So you eat like at a normal time, like 6, 7 at night. You would eat breakfast at like 8 in the morning, something like that.
Yeah, but
that's typical for you.
For me, my typical day is eat sometimes late because I get home late, and then I would usually have either a tea or I start drinking coffee in the morning. No food of substance except the weekend, and then eat around noon. So one meal at noon, one meal call it 6 or 7. No breakfast during the week, breakfast on the weekend, typical lifestyle. And then I'm drinking unsweet iced tea, or I'm drinking coffee with cream in the morning, which kind of screws up the intermittent fasting. A
little bit better than sugar, but yeah.
But I said, let me do just cold turkey 72-hour fast. So I said that, and I set it for 72 hours. First one I got 57 hours.
So when you say fast, I just want to be clear. Just water and black coffee, or
no black coffee, just water.
Just water. Wow. Okay.
And I did water with no electrolytes.
Okay.
I know, which I didn't. See, that's just my naivety. I didn't know. So I hit first when I did 57 hours. So about 52 hours. Man, it was tough. The 50-hour mark for me, it became tough.
Okay.
Not because I was hungry. just because I was like zoning out a little bit.
Brain fog.
Yeah, it just was hard for me to, it was hard for me to focus.
Yeah.
First one, and then the second one, I got to 72 hours. But I was, the last 4 hours, I was really ready to, not because I was hungry, but because I needed something in my system to feel normal again.
Okay.
But I kind of was trying to figure out what system could I put in place that I could be consistent with. For me, I think would be good for me would be to, like a Sunday night, have an early dinner, be done by 5, don't eat Monday, and then have my first meal Tuesday at noon.
You want to do that on a weekly basis?
Yeah, that's like not a big deal.
What about like doing a less lengthy fast, but more frequently? So for me, like I typically fast between 18 and 24 hours every day.
Right, you're shredded now too. Have you noticed that you?
Yeah, I am. I'll show the camera the guns because they obviously want to see them again. So that's.
But you've gotten just shredded. And how long have you been doing to get that shredded?
I mean, honestly, probably in like the first 6 weeks. Here's the reason why I started fasting, Kevin, is because I gained a bunch of weight when I first started working here. I didn't understand why.
Because you weren't moving.
No, I was moving a lot, Kevin, actually. My feeding window was probably from about 5 a.m. till about 8 p.m. So even though I was eating quote unquote healthy, I was constantly in a fed state. And so my insulin levels were always high. And, for people that are into this sort of stuff, if your insulin is always high, it's a hormone that tells your body to store energy, store fat. And that's what was happening. I was just putting on a lot of weight. So I started researching some stuff and ran into this guy named Dr. Jason Fung. And this guy really changed my life.
Fung?
I think it's, Fung.
Okay.
I think. He's a Canadian doctor, a kidney specialist, but he's like the leading researcher in fasting. So I saw something on the internet with him, and it was something like infuriating, like clickbait, like calories don't matter, sort of thing. So I clicked on it just, enraged, like this is ridiculous, calories in, calories out. And to be honest with you, Kevin, I thought it was my age. Like I thought, I'm 30 at the time, 33. I guess my metabolism is slowing down and I'm just going to start gaining weight.
You accept your reality.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, I guess I have to accept this new body. I don't know what to do. I was just putting on weight kind of like crazy. And 15 pounds isn't that much, but on someone who's 5'3" in my frame, that
makes a difference here.
It does, yeah. So I started doing research and I kind of ran into intermittent fasting. I go, why would it matter if you have the same amount of calories within a 10-hour period versus a 4-hour period?
Defies logic.
And here's the thing, like oftentimes you eat a lot less when you're intermittent fasting. But nevertheless, I decided to give it a try. And I almost immediately was like, oh, my digestion is better. I'm not bloated 24/7. I'm sleeping better. Everything just started to change. The fat just essentially melted off of my body. But most things, Kevin, when you have obsessive compulsive disorder, no, the reverse. I take a good thing and I do it until it's destructive.
You wear it out. So if 18 hours is good, 72 hours is better.
Yeah. So I went from not being able to do 12 hours to doing 45 hours,
Consistently?
Not consistently. That was my max record was 45 hours. So I took a good thing and I made it
weird?
bad. I turned it into a bad thing.
Did you feel weird at the end?
Yes. It to me, which is strange because you know me, I'm not a religious and not really a spiritual person. I kind of am more now. Yeah, spiritual in a different sense,
yes.
in more of a state of awe of the body, the world, the universe, sort of a way.
Sure.
It really puts you in a spiritual state of mind when you get into that second day of fasting.
Yes, 100%.
Right? You start being very in tune with what your body's doing, what you're feeling.
Yes.
Pain, hunger. You can almost like reason yourself out of it. You're like, it's like it's uncomfortable, but it's not horrible.
It's a battle in your head.
Right. And also, I learned, which was it's unusual for someone who is 34 years old, that hunger is a transient state.
It is.
I thought it was like going to the bathroom. Like it's going to get worse until you relieve yourself, but you can be hungry and then wait and then it goes away.
It's about 8 minutes.
Yeah.
It's so. I mean, you read about that. They talk about it. It is. It comes.
I didn't
and goes.
know that until pretty recently. So.
And you work through it. And you go, I'm not hungry anymore.
Right. Doing hard things.
Did you wake up? So, for me, night 1, night 2, so I'm past 48 hours of not eating.
Mm-hmm.
I was waking up and dreaming about eating. Did you get those dreams?
No, because I only did, I think, 2 nights in not in a fed state. So, yeah, it wasn't that bad for me. But like you did 3, I think, right?
It did.
Yeah.
It did.
So that's pretty crazy.
But I was so shaky the last, that the hours between 60 and in the 70s.
That's insane.
I felt,
yeah.
I was worried about driving.
Yeah.
I was worried about driving, but then I became so like, I want to accomplish this. And I have an app on here. I wish I don't know which app. It's a timer app. It's silly.
People have sent me screenshots of their fast before.
But I only do it just because I like looking at it.
Sure.
It's like checking it.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law is a big faster, and he's Peter. I think you've met him before. I need you be a good. You guys are very similar in the way that you see the world, but. So he has fast life. He went vegan for about 5 years.
Okay.
Just for reasons of health.
Okay.
He's been alcohol free for like 6 years.
That's fantastic.
Well, just for health.
Yeah.
I mean, he's very matter of fact, like, hey, it's poison and it doesn't help me.
Right. And it's not that fun to be drunk.
but his was very a philosophical analysis of like, how does that give me value?
Right.
And if I'm putting money into this, shouldn't I put money? I mean, this was like very, not like, it's just a different conversation. But I think, so I want you to motivate me real quick. So you went and did intermittent fasting.
Yeah.
You got shredded within 6 weeks?
Not 6 weeks, but I started noticing significant, like, weight I thought was never coming off.
Stubborn, not competent.
Yeah. And I went, all I had to do was just wait to eat breakfast. That was it.
Did it, for most people and people listening here, the stubborn weight is around the midsection, which typically is cortisol based, which they say, okay, I got this, I got all this, mid weight. I can't get rid of that. I'll call it a beer belly or whatever it is. It might be a wheat belly, but whatever that is, I can't get rid of that. Did that assist you and attack that area?
Yeah, I mean,
but it's of course overall you can't spot reduce.
Yeah, you can't do any spot reduction. But for me, yeah, it's like a typical woman, butt, stomach. Yeah, I couldn't see. I used to have a little bit more ab definition before when I started working here. That was gone. So I was like, and again, I want to reiterate, I was never fat. Like I was never, I'm not delusional.
No one said that.
I know, but some people are like, you're calling yourself. I'm like, no, I wasn't. But also, I work out all the time.
You
Kevin.
were the hardest critic on yourself,
right? And I felt like when I looked in the mirror, I like to look like 10% freakish. Like I like to have a little bit more definition than probably your average woman.
But you weren't getting the benefit out of your workouts you got before, and you thought you were doing the appropriate things, and you couldn't get there. And
I didn't look like I was as serious about working out and fitness as I was.
Yes.
I felt like it didn't. I just looked a little too normal.
Yes.
I know that sounds insane, but that's my brain.
Yes.
So yeah, I started doing it, and whenever I would run into a time when I would feel like I couldn't do it or I was struggling. What I've been doing, and maybe you've used this logic as well. I go, your ancestors survived by being able to do this. Like your body is designed to go through a fast. Your body is designed to move. Your body is designed. So when I started telling myself like it's not a matter of can or cannot, it's just inevitable. I can do it because I was designed this way. By whatever, natural selection, oh my God, whatever. So I knew that I could do it. So when I would feel like, when I was doing my long 45-hour fast, I'm like, I can't do it. I go, yes, you can. You can probably survive 30 days without food. You are fine. You're fine. You're fine. And then you'd be able to.
That's the affirmation you need.
You were designed to do this sort of a deal.
But when you did that, did you note it did gradually make a difference?
What do you mean?
When you went to the 18-hour fast?
Did it get easier? Or?
Well, no, I assumed it got easier, right?
Oh, absolutely. Within very quickly, your body adapts. Within 2-3 weeks, it was no problem to go, 15, 16 hours, where before I couldn't even go 12.
How many days a week are you doing it?
Every day.
Great.
Every day. And then not every day is 24 hours. Sometimes it's 17, but it's never really less than 17 hours.
Did you increase your protein?
Did I increase my protein?
Did you decrease your carbs?
I've always been kind of like
carb adverse,
carb aware, because I knew that was really like sugar is the devil sort of a thing. But yeah, and inevitably with intermittent fasting, you do eat less because it's really hard to eat, 2,000 calories in like one sitting.
Yeah, you can't, even if you want to eat whatever you want.
Right. So, and you get full a lot faster, the stomach shrinks and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, more likely than not, you're consuming fewer calories. But even more likely, you're really trying to get into, and I'm sure you've done your research on this, but autophagy is what we're after, right?
See,
cell regeneration.
Yeah. So autophagy, and I I encourage, if you haven't researched autophagy, anybody who's listening, take a look at it. Take a really good look at it. You just spend an hour or so on autophagy. It's fascinating. Now, the research I read, there's an argument when it starts, when it stops, how long does it take to get there? Some people say it comes quicker than others. Others say, I thought, and I haven't looked at it in a month or two now, 48 hours is like 1,000% it's kicked in. Mm-hmm. That's why I wanted to hit to that 48-hour mark.
Yeah.
So I'm getting that. You in autophagy, they talk about things as revolutionary as your body killing mutant cells, decreasing the risk of cancer.
Yes.
Causing your stem cells to increase and multiply at a huge rate. Mm-hmm. For guys, increasing testosterone naturally.
Right.
So there's a lot of benefits of it.
And essentially what it is you're making your body more resilient by putting stressors on it that you can control, right?
So one of the things to that same point, they noticed that people going through certain types of training, very rigorous military training, certain people had a higher propensity for stress fractures and broken legs. And those were people who were swimmers and water polo players. And they did a deeper dive and they found certain people
no pun intended.
had a less propensity for that. And those are people that were basketball players, tennis players that put a lot of stress on their bones.
Right.
And the argument is the swimmers were not putting stress on their bones, or the water polo players, they were in great cardiovascular shape and they were cut and they were ripped and they're muscular. But when you start, doing jump ropes, jumping up and down,
weightlifting,
anything that you're putting stress on muscles and bones, same things, you're putting your body in a stressful situation, so it reacts to reinforce that and make it denser, better, stronger, faster, quicker. Same thing you're talking about when you go into fasting is your body learns to get by on less, and it makes it tougher. So the exact opposite of what we think of you need rest and recovery, but in a state of pleasure, sitting by a poolside, drinking a pina colada,
right,
you're hurting your body versus doing hard, difficult things helps your body, which is somewhat counterintuitive.
No, I know exactly what you're saying. And yeah, most people would think it's the opposite. You want to stay away from stress. But little amounts of stress are what make the body more resilient. And you can do that by, a few different ways, namely, obviously, fasting, sauna, cold plunging, which is my next venture, which I am not looking forward to because I don't like cold, Kevin. I moved to Florida, obviously.
So we did some of that in Budapest.
You did the cold plunge.
Yeah, and I've done some cold plunging. I wanted to get a cold plunge thing. I got to find a place to start. I don't want to just invest in a $5,000 cold plunge deal. I want to see everybody I've talked to who's done it loves it. The same thing with sauna and fasting is people talk about the first 3 or 4 days, it's horrible. And then they're like, it's not a problem at all.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's my next one because I really don't want to do it, Kevin. And the way that my mind works is as soon as I don't want to do something, I go, okay, now we have to lean into it. Now this cannot defeat you, Anna. You have to go do it. I don't, there's days when I don't want to do jujitsu because I'm like, oh man, so-and-so's going to be there and they're going to whip my ass. Or I'll see someone that I don't want to roll with because I know they're going to whip my ass. And I immediately, without even thinking, I just go, do you want to roll? Do you want to roll? And then afterwards I go, oh, fuck, what is it? But now I've committed to it. And then when I do it and I complete it, I go, now I have the satisfaction of facing my fear, doing something I didn't want to do, and, coming out on the other side, and I was okay. And that's what I have to do with the cold plunge now. Is like I've identified I don't want to do it, which means I need to do more than anything else.
I think, it's like jumping in a pool. Don't take the steps, jump in. But, I think if you were going to say in 2023 to add 3 things that would change a person's life from a health perspective, sauna, cold plunge, intermittent fasting, those 3, that's the triad that could make a huge difference.
And exercise, but yeah.
But even, there's an argument. Look at the data on just going into a sauna versus exercise. I mean, really, you get some, I'm not saying don't exercise at all, but I'm saying there's a huge benefit of the sauna.
Sure, absolutely.
I mean, huge benefit. I mean, if you're going to, and those are three things that are not difficult, really.
Yeah. There's just so much that you can do. And the more I learn about, the FDA and the pharmaceutical company, I'm like, these agencies and these people and these companies are not here to help you. So no. I've made it like my life's mission to be as self-sufficient as possible in terms of research, information. Like, even if a doctor tells me something, all right, that's great. Let me talk to a different doctor. Let me do my own research. Not that I know everything. Obviously, I'm going to garner information from people that know more than I do. But I'm never going to just say like, oh, the FDA said it's okay, so I'm going to take this, vaccine or whatever.
Whatever it is.
Whatever. It doesn't matter anymore. I need to be self-sufficient. When I learned recently, and I've talked to them about this on my show, that Coca-Cola was paying off the NAACP because they wanted to take off Coke products for SNAP, because they were like, wow, all these soda products are making these especially black kids sick.
Yes.
When it went to the floor of Congress, Coca-Cola was like, wow, that's like $1 billion in subsidies that we're getting from the government, so then we don't want to lose that money. So what we're going to do is we're going to blow in a $10 million donation to the NAACP for them to come out and make a statement and say, hey, if you cut Coke products from SNAP or food stamps, that's racist because a lot of our black kids like those drinks, and if you take that away from them, that's racist. And so the NCAA came out and they said that if you cut Coke products from SNAP, that's racist, and they didn't cut it. And a lot of those Coke products are making people sick, and I hate saying it, but I'm like, the NCAA and NAACP doesn't care about black lives, because what kills more black people than white cops is sugar. And nobody wants to talk. Right. All of these like metabolic dysfunctions that happen when you don't take care of your body. And it's completely preventable. And people want to say it's institutionalized racism, or it's genetics, or it's this, or you don't care the healthcare system. No. It's sure there's a genetic component. And I was listening to this one doctor and he said, genetics is like loading the gun, but the environment is pulling the trigger. So you can have the gun loaded the whole time, but you'll never pull the trigger if you're not in a situation where you're not taking care of your body. So, I'm passionate about it because I feel like there's just I look around, especially, in the U.S., and there's just so much unnecessary suffering. So like 75, I think to 90% of all the people that walk through the door in a hospital, like it's preventable shit. And but nobody, go on metformin. You don't need to change your diet. Don't worry about what you're eating. It's like, what the hell's going on?
Well, I think I got to hard out in two minutes, but I think that we should incentivize more people to take ownership of their health.
Yes. So
it's cheaper for them to live.
Yes.
If you can do that somehow, I mean, we talked about with preventative medicine, we talked about insurance rates going down if your body mass into your BMI is lower. I mean, things like that. It's not going to change unless people feel financially invested or motivated to do it. And if we could somehow motivate people to take care of themselves better by making it in their best interest financially, I think we could get people there. And we shouldn't have to bribe people to get there.
What about just living a longer, more fulfilling, functional life? Like, is that not enough?
No, that doesn't equate.
No, that
that's not
okay,
enough.
Okay.
It's not enough because people. It's temporary. People will take pleasure
for long-term, gains.
It's days I would. Because I would. I'd be, oh shoot, I'd rather have pleasure over that.
Really? Okay.
But I mean, I know better. But I still wrestle with it.
Sure. I mean, we all do. Absolutely. Yeah.
We got to continue this.
Yes, we do. This was just a little teaser. For Kevin's Law, even though we didn't talk about law at all. But we got to get the band back together. That's for sure.
Awesome.
So, all right, I'm going to take a little break, say goodbye to Kevin, then I'll come back for more.
Thanks, Anna.
Yep. All right, I'm back. I'm here. 19 seconds to spare. Call back 813-90-BUBBA. Just had to walk Kevin out. Saw his new Rivian. Pretty fucking baller. Yes, next week we're going to have a very special guest. My father will be in, and he's made some demands. And one of those demands is he would like to be featured on the air. So I talked to Bubba. He'll probably come in the last half hour of the show. And then he will sit in with me, and we will have a lovely discussion about... My dad loves giving advice. So I feel like, whether it's divorce or relationships or diet or being a vegan, my dad knows everything. And he's going to let you know everything that you need to know about living a successful, healthy, vivacious life. He is, I believe, 68 years old. Motherfucker doesn't take any medication. Nothing. It's actually pretty wild. He's taken pretty good care of himself over the years. But and sustained, different injuries. He was an athlete pretty much his whole life. Until he wasn't. But he has some very interesting ideas about how to preserve health and longevity, and it's something that we like to talk about all the time. And he likes to tell me that I need to stop eating eggs and yogurt, and I tell him to fuck off. So it'll be a good time. Hello, who might I have the pleasure of speaking with?
It's Florida Stanley. What's up?
What's up, Florida Stanley? How's it going?
I just miss Kevin?
You did. Kevin was on for about 45 minutes, I think. Yeah.
Damn it! I was calling in, and then as soon as I went back live, you're like, "Oh, I had to walk Kevin out." I'm like, damn it! I was hoping. Well, anyway,
did you have a legal question?
In his Rivian, and he's listening. No, it wasn't a legal question. It was a question for him. I just wanted to tell him that he is by far my favorite off the show personality. I love Kevin.
He's the best.
His wife Missy is amazing. He landed a good one there. I got to talk to her for a few minutes at BARP last year, or
so
technically,
sweet.
I guess earlier
Very
this year.
personable. And she doesn't have to be. I'm like, Missy, you're so nice, and you're rich. You don't have to be nice to anybody. And she's like, it's nice.
Bitch it up a little bit.
I know. I'm like, what the hell's going on? Why are you helping out, cleaning up around here? Get out of here, scram.
Well, okay, so I had a question for Kevin about food, because you don't eat anything with a face or a butthole, but maybe Blitz has said something to you, and like you might be able to help me answer this question.
Yeah.
Is there no such thing as good chicken breasts anymore? Even if you buy the non-GMO, free-range, triple the price, all-natural chicken breast, it sucks.
It tastes bad, or it's just not good for you?
It tastes bad. It's rubbery. There's no good way to cook it properly. It's horrible. You can I've always bought chicken at Publix, never Walmart, because Walmart sucks.
What about Fresh Market? I hear they have deals on Tuesdays.
Well, I've tried the fancy places like Trader Joe's, or when I go up north, there's a place that's like Whole Foods. It's called Heinen's. But I can't find, no matter how much I spend on chicken breast, I can't find good chicken breast anywhere. It just all tastes like rubber.
Is it possibly the way you're preparing it? I don't know.
I'm a good cook. I've been cooking for years.
Right.
I
don't really know what
doing
to
around
tell
the kitchen and the grill.
Okay. I don't know what to tell you in terms of quality. It is hard to kind of navigate around, because a lot of times when it's cage free, it's but they were in a little bit larger than a cage, still in dirty conditions.
Yeah, they were still in a pen with 500,000 other chickens.
Right, and how that affects the taste
doesn't mean they're not cramped.
Right, and how it affects the taste, I don't know, because I don't eat meat. But in terms of quality, it's iffy. I mean, here's the thing: I don't eat meat. My dad is a vegan. He's he'll tell you about it. He's a cool vegan. He's not one of those that's like everybody needs to, he's friends with people who aren't vegan. He's not like your typical vegan. But nevertheless, it is I forgot where I was
nonetheless.
Yeah, nonetheless. Oh man, I had a thought there. It's gone now.
Having an animal under duress, I'm sure you've heard Rogan talk about this.
Yeah.
Having an animal under duress right before it dies does change the taste of it.
Yeah, where I was going with that is
when he kills deer,
if
the deer lives for up to a minute after he shoots it, It completely different.
Where I was going with that is I actually have a lot of respect for people who actually hunt their own meat. Like that is something, even though I'm not a big fan of eating meat, obviously consuming meat, or wearing any types of meat. I don't like to wear leather. I feel like that's kind of like hypocritical if it's like, I'm not going to eat the animal, but I'll fucking wear it. So I stay away from leather. But nevertheless, I do have a great respect for people who, kill wild elk or something like that. And if you're going to consume meat, that's the way to do it, because that animal wasn't living in some shitty factory farm, shitting on itself, eating food it's not meant to be consuming. It wasn't, there's no antibiotics. There's no extra hormones. It was just a natural animal that was inhabiting the earth, and you stole its life and ate it. But nevertheless, that is by far, probably like some of the most nutrient-dense food that you could probably have, And our ancestors certainly ate meat. I always try to take it back to, if you look at our teeth, we're omnivores. We eat meat and we also eat plants. And most of our diet consisted of plants because that was probably more reliable because you didn't have to go and hunt a plant. But, when you did make the kill, the antelope or whatnot, it was definitely something that was very nutritious and kept you going. So, there's no shade for eating meat if you do it, in my opinion, the right way. So.
No, you just don't do it. Last quick question. Did you guys set a date for the next 199 yet?
August 25th.
Ah, shit. I'll be out of the country. Okay.
Where are you going?
All right. Well, I'm taking a one-way cruise up to Alaska and then doing
one-way cruise.
It's a 2-week cruise, one way up the coast, up the coast of California, up to Alaska to Anchorage, and then I take a week-long train ride all the way through Canada, from Alaska all the way through Canada to right above New York, and then fly back. It's like a 3-week-long trip.
Oh, dang. Okay. Well, enjoy yourself, and then possibly we'll see you for the next one, which I think is
September,
around the 18th, 19th, something like that.
8th, I think.
Okay.
But, yeah. All right.
Well, we'll see you in September then, my friend.
See you in September.
All right. Bye, Flora Stanley.
Bye.
813-90 Bubba if you would like to call in and join the conversation. We're talking about all things health, longevity. I'm obsessed with it. I can't get enough of it. I not that I care so much about you and strangers I don't even know, but I'm like, if me just rattling on can kind of at least spark an interest in you to go do your own research and just mitigate a lot of the unnecessary suffering that is caused by, the powers that be, because you're just a dollar sign to them. They don't give a fuck about you. You think the pharmaceutical companies are here to make you better? If you get better, they don't make no fucking money. So they want to make sure that you're sick. And a lot of times, as I've been learning, a lot of times when you take a certain drug, obviously, and I'm sure we've all seen this on, pharmaceutical commercials where everyone just looks so happy and they're just frolicking in, a bed of flowers. And then you hear the side effects might include cardiac disease, Lyme disease, all these horrific things. I mean, that I want to say is probably by design. Because if you just took a medication and then suddenly miraculously got better, then, again, you wouldn't be a very good customer for them because they want to, hook you and reel you in for life. So a lot of times these drugs that you're taking cause side effects, which cause other problems that, guess what? You need more drugs for. And you are just a never-ending cash cow for these motherfuckers. And listen, I can wail away and say, people are so greedy and this, that, and the other. We need to stop thinking like people are bad and evil, which sometimes I don't even know if I believe in, quote, evil. It's just that everybody is in it for their own self-interest, and I can respect that. There's no such thing as true altruism. Nothing. Even your best friend, your mother, your mother is so nice to you because you are half of her genetically. This is her kin. She's designed this way. She is, psychologically designed to find you attractive and beautiful and cute and sweet and endearing because that's how she gets her genes into the next generation. There's even when people act somewhat or appear, it's selfless. It's not, because a lot of times it's not anonymous. You get credit for it. You feel good for doing it. Well, you feeling good is essentially selfish, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. I think it's a beautiful thing if something makes you feel good and also helps other people. That's a beautiful thing, and you should try to lean into areas where you're able to do some sort of public service, but also serve yourself because it makes you feel fulfilled or happy, or what the fuck ever. So I've accepted that reality. I don't fight it. I don't go, oh, these people who are rich are evil. Poor people are evil too. And if they had the opportunities that the rich did, you think they wouldn't take them? When I hear people clamoring on about, oh, Jeff Bezos doesn't give a fuck about this, and like, would you, if you were worth $150 billion, would you be caring about the peasants, the peons, the serfs at the bottom? No, you wouldn't care. Don't pretend like you're of, elite moral standing. You're not. You're not on the winning team, so you're calling the game unfair. I don't do that because I'm not a child. I go, okay, listen, this is the game. These are the rules. These are the players. How can I play? And I got this hand, whatever. We can make it a poker analogy. How do I play the best hand that I can with the cards that I have? Right? That's how I look at it. I go, I know that people are trying to make a profit on me, and that's fine. That's their prerogative. But I still got kind of like the Jacob Chenzi, QAnon shaman guy was talking about. He was saying, listen, they can't steal what's upstairs. And that's so true. I mean, they can with their pharmaceuticals if you let them do that. But, you still have agency over your thoughts. And you go, okay, I don't care if they're trying to make a profit off me. I don't have to buy into it. And Brian was talking yesterday, oh, social media is terrible. Okay, if you allow it to affect you, that's your fault for allowing it to affect you. I like the idea of extreme self-responsibility and accountability where, and I was giving this example to my friend yesterday where we were talking about our relationship with our family, and, my sister came up, and a lot of times, my sister brings out a really ugly side of me, emotionally and spiritually, not just make me uglier than I already am, but I oftentimes don't, or haven't liked spending time with her in the past because I don't like who I become in her presence. And I could go on and say, she's manipulative, she's this or she's that. But in all reality, it's my fault because I allow that to happen. I allow to fall into old patterns and old habits of acting and feeling and just being like, God, you're fucking annoying, dumbass. But I need to learn how to control myself better. That's really a reflection of me. So the fact that I can spend time with my sister and fall back into old habits that I've done for so many years, tried to work and, unwind and unpack and rewire not to be that way. The fact that I can, spend 10 minutes with her and boom, I'm back where I was when I was 17, just being a fucking asshole is not good. And that's not, and most people would blame the other person. They go, oh, this person brings out a bad side of me. Well, maybe you allow that to happen. So I'm all about, extreme accountability because I don't want to be a victim or feel like I'm not in control. I am the driver's seat. I'm in the driver's seat. I am a driver. I have control. So what sort of things do I need to do or put in place to make sure that I don't fall into old ways or I can have more, emotional control over a situation, be less triggered? Yesterday was a perfect example of that. I was perfectly fine. Everything's fine, do. And then all of a sudden that, fucking asshole calls in and I immediately get triggered because I'm like, why? Well, I actually kind of got mad on the people on the show because I had their back. They were calling him a pussy and I just went, yeah, you are a fucking pussy. And then it was like, hey, hold on. Only we can call him a pussy. And then that pissed me off. Now, I should have not been triggered by that, but I was. But that wasn't their fault. That was my fault. Because I still clearly need to do more work on myself to be, and the goal, obviously, I don't think it's ever really achievable, is to be, as close to 100% in control of yourself at all times. I think that's like the gold standard of, I've done a lot of research with like the Stoics and, trying to be in control of yourself and in any situation. And things like being in uncomfortable situations help that. Whether it be jujitsu or sauna or fasting or a grueling workout or whatever, everything is on my terms. So yeah. So I think that doing hard things matter and being in control of yourself matters. And we could just spend our lives blaming other people for our shortcomings. But I like to take the higher route and go, yeah, I know I need to work on this. Because I easily get triggered when X, Y, or Z happens. So, kind of going back to the pharmaceutical companies or the government or anybody that's in somewhat of a, quote, position of authority to tell you about health or the way to live or politics. Yeah, fuck that. I have agency over myself. I have to understand that politics is a business, that the FDA is a business, that the pharmaceutical company, it's all a business. And what do businesses do? Their sole purpose is to acquire a profit, and that's okay. And I accept those terms, but I am not going to be buying into that system of profits. You will not be getting any money from me, sir. So fuck off. Hey, Brian from Philly, $2. Thank you very much, Brian from Philly. Appreciate you. You're sponsoring this program, and I really appreciate it. Hello, who's this?
Hey, Anna.
What's up?
Anna, hey, it's Ned's His.
Niz
Hey,
his.
real quick.
Yeah.
So, Florida Stanley was calling in talking about, the chicken and stuff like that.
Yeah.
In DeLand, there is a place, and I know these people personally. Lonnie is my ex's son.
Okay.
If you go on YouTube, go to The Reed Farm. Okay? Lonnie had years and years and years of bad digestion and constant gastrointestinal problems. And what it was the food.
Yeah.
So
probably leaky
Lonnie
gut.
has developed.
Yeah.
Well, what Lonnie does now is he teaches people how to grow natural food without using pesticides. And he's here in Florida, actually in the land.
Yeah.
But not only that, he has a group of people where he gets all organic meat. All the meat is raised the same way.
Okay.
It's unbelievable.
That's fantastic.
The difference is
the quality.
It is. It's absolutely fantastic. And he can set you up on, you know what I mean? If you have property, if you have the ability or the desire, what he does is he teaches people how to grow good, nutritious, healthy food.
That's fantastic.
And how to take care of themselves physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually. Lonnie and his wife, they're just wonderful people.
Yeah.
I've known him literally for 30 years, since he was literally a kid.
Mm-hmm.
And but that's his life calling. That's what he does now.
And I get that.
And he basically,
it's such a gift to give people. Yeah, to take care of themselves.
Yep. He's making a living, basically taking care of himself. It's just absolutely amazing. But to answer that question, there is good, wholesome meat available. The stuff you buy in the grocery store is crap.
Right.
That's why I raise my own pigs and chickens.
I mean, that's a lot. There's a lot of respect. That's fantastic. And I'm a vegetarian, but yeah, the way that if you're growing your raising your own chickens and pigs, and fuck, even more props to you if it's the knife in your hand that slaughters them. I'm like, at least you're taking responsibility, because a lot of people don't want to even see that. They don't want to do any of the defeathering or all that sort of shit. But if you take it into your own hands and you fucking kill that animal and you eat that animal, props to you.
It's amazing that, my wife, when we started out, doing this, and I'm on very, very small scale. I mean, very small scale.
That's fine. Yeah.
But when we started doing this, my wife said, how can you, love those animals like you do and then kill them?
Yeah.
What it is it's, I take care of them and I treat them like family, because what they do for me is they keep me healthy.
Yeah. Yes.
It's pretty amazing. But anyway, it's just go on either YouTube or Facebook. It's The Reed Farm.
The Reed Farm. I'm writing it down right now. The Reed Farm. All right. It's bookmarked for this weekend. I will be doing some research on that. So thank you for calling in and telling me about it.
Listen, keep doing what you're doing. I love you guys.
Thank you.
Just keep it up. It's Ned's His, and have a great weekend.
You too. Thank you so much. I appreciate you letting us know about that. And Little Wilbur's Afterbirth, $20. Just making that money, making it rain like the stripper hoe that I am. But instead of, showing you my tits, I'm just talking about metabolic dysfunction. So pretty much the same thing. Hello, who's this?
Your boyfriend is a thief.
Okay. Hello, who's this?
I'm Hummel, Joe the Supermarket.
What's up, Joe? I'm sorry that I saw you were in chat. You weren't too happy, so I do apologize about that, Joe.
When? Today?
Yeah. A lot of times chat wants me to interact, and I do to some regard, but oftentimes, like, some of the things that people write are just not very nice, and sometimes it's best if I just kind of look away, because sometimes you guys are mean to me.
On chat is,
yeah.
Like, typing things on chat is hard because you don't get the context.
Yes.
You don't get the tone.
And oftentimes you'll miss the beginning of the
flat,
conversation as the chat scrolls down. So
right, and you just get one line of it, and just like I feel like illustrating absurdity by being absurd. So somebody was complaining, and then I reiterated their complaint like a joke. Like he just kept complaining over and over again. Oh, I hate the fans.
Yeah, I don't hate the fans.
That's what I made.
Yeah,
I know you don't. So
no, I know. But in full disclosure, sometimes when we're doing the show, when we're live, and I'll have the chat going, I won't collapse it, and I start reading it, and it takes me out of the show, and it sometimes it does kind of hurt my feelings. So I'm like, why am I reading this? So then usually that's at the beginning of the show, and then I collapse it, and then I try to look at it, as little as I can. A lot of people are nice and supportive, but a lot of people aren't. So it's like, why? Why am I looking at something that's not going to serve me? So I do apologize if
I had the hardest time like getting that through my head, like when chat first became an option. Because of course, listening to Bubba from the beginning, you never had chat. It was just radio. You never even had video.
Yeah.
So now you add the video and let's add the chat. And I thought, oh my God, everybody's Bubba Army. There's gonna be so much fun. We're gonna get to talk good things about the show, and it's nothing but hatred and negativity on it. It's like you said,
gets you
there's
down.
great people that we get to meet in there, and it's wonderful, but all that other element was completely unexpected. So I've come to find that turning the chat off and just watching the show, or even the best is when there's like the one time there was technical difficulties and we had to listen to the show old school style.
Yeah.
I love theater of the mind. I love that. That's why I fell in love with radio, much probably yourself. So
Certainly.
Now the new elements, whatever it is what it is, but I just wanted to get your opinion. I mean, it's not why I called to talk about it all, but I'm glad it came up.
Yeah. My opinion on what precisely?
On what? Oh, I really wanted to get your opinion on one thing. Here's the thing.
Oh.
First off, I need to tell you this. I've said it in chat, and I know you know that I know that this show is just...
You know that I know that you know. Yeah.
I say it that actually this is the highlight of my week, and my week is long, 24 hours a day to fill myself with content with very little sleep.
Yeah.
I could be filling my brain with anything and all things,
Sure.
and church and lots of Bubba and even wrestling. But this show right here makes me think more than anything else that I fill my head with.
Listen, that is such a compliment, and I really appreciate you saying that, because I do try to work hard to try to learn as much throughout the week and every day as I can. Some days I'm better than others, but I really try to. I don't want to just be talking out of my ass. And I know that a lot of people in chat, some people I will not mention by name, even though they come to mind, they call me out for like, oh, you're not a doctor, you're not this, you're not that. I'm like, what do you think I'm doing all day? You think I'm just like sitting at home concocting ideas, just making shit up? It's like, no, I'm doing my due diligence. I'm listening to people who are doctors, who are lawyers, who are experts in their field, trying to get a grasp of what the fuck is actually going on. So when I come on the program and I start talking about stuff, just dismissing my ideas because, quote, I'm not a doctor is bullshit. Because I'm learning from doctors, motherfuckers. Okay, sorry. See, I was easily triggered there. That's something I need to work on.
And you're a sponge for knowledge on top of it. Like, you're not just listening to doctors. You're not just listening to lawyers. You're holding on to what's being said. You're asking questions to learn more because you're inquisitive.
Yes.
And I'm inquisitive.
Yes, I do have an insatiable
before,
curiosity. Sorry, go ahead.
No worries. I was just saying, as far as it pertains to your show, you're spitting one-liners you probably don't even know are just gems of brilliance. Like, literally, there's been 7 today. Just since Kevin left.
Stop.
If you took the time to listen back to your stuff and wrote down a quote here and a quote there, and if you just posted those quotes so that we can enjoy them and hold on to them.
I feel like you're the only person that feels this way. Listen, Joe, I really appreciate you blowing like all the smoke, but I just feel like this is a party of one. Like, I feel like not most people probably don't feel this way about me, but I appreciate you.
Why are you thinking low of yourself? Don't do that.
Oh, I don't think low of myself. I just go ahead. I'm a realist. That's all. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Oh God, it's so hard because I want to talk to. The first thing I want to say is God. Every time,
Yeah,
and the fact that you don't have the belief, it makes
sure
it difficult.
don't.
Because I was going to say, just say about yourself what God says about you. God says you're fearfully and wonderfully made.
That's very nice of him.
Dust. He breathed His breath into you.
That's creepy.
He made you amazing. He loves you. He's your heavenly Father.
I already have.
So that's enough of that. I just wanted to say one more thing.
Yeah.
And this is to me, it's a funny question. I don't even think it's a good question, but do you sing? Like, what is your singing deal? Because very rarely do you ever sing
deal?
on hot mic. Huh?
What did you say? My what deal? I couldn't hear you.
Singing. Like sing. Do you ever sing? You sing in the shower? Do you sing in your car?
Oh, yeah. I sing as Bubba all the time. Constantly.
No,
come as a match. Come as a
Okay.
Yeah,
yeah.
That.
But
yeah.
I'm thinking this seriously. Like, do you ever
No.
Because I know you love music.
I do love music. On music,
into a song, just
hip hop music. Yeah, no, I've never really wanted to pursue singing. That's something that never really interested me. But
I'm not asking you to become a singer. I'm just saying, do you enjoy like singing when you're on your own, just in the shower?
Not seriously, no. Like I like bopping around and like beep, beep, like that kind of singing, like yeah, but not like oh. I'm not doing like runs in the car.
I got you. I love singing so much.
That's great.
I love
Good
it.
for you.
And I love singing parody songs. I can come up with parody songs, freestyle.
Well,
so this week when Dan sung his songs, yeah, Dan's songs were great and Dan's songs were funny. But guess what? Your reaction to it made it that next.
Well,
level.
they were hilarious.
I wrote it in the comments, and I said, I've never laughed harder this year at anything. There's nothing I can think of where I laughed that hard.
Yeah.
And
well,
then to go into
that
the
was all Dan.
video after that. That was in the same segment, you know that, like the Dan parody songs into the Nair BH.
Yeah, that was a great day. It really was. That when I saw that at home, I was like, I need to bring this up on the air because this might be the greatest thing I've ever seen on the YouTube. So I'm glad that we were able to discuss it as a.
And I come to find out that if you share the video with random people and you get their reactions, that's even funnier than seeing the video.
I know. It's like the new 2 Girls 1 Cup video, except it's on YouTube, where, you're like, oh, okay, I can see it. And then that moment when everything just goes horribly, horribly wrong. I'm sure many of you remember the epic, classic movie of 2 Girls 1 Cup. And I remember for a time, the song behind it was like really distinctive and people would put it as their ringtone. And so, they'd be at a nice dinner at fucking Cheesecake Factory and then you'd hear that. I can't even emulate it, but if you heard it, you would know what it is. And everybody would just kind of like jolt up and you knew that everybody that reacted to that ringtone had seen that video. And it was awesome. And I remember the 2 Girls 1 Cup era, and it reminds me of a simpler time, Joe. When I was in college, I was like 20 years old, and I remember the first time I saw it, my roommate's boyfriend, his name was Cole, he had there was like 7 or 8 of us girls living together, and he goes, I want all you bitches on the couch right now. That sounds like at the beginning of a porno, and it wasn't. So we were sitting on the couch, he put one laptop in front of us, and he goes, I want you guys to watch this video. And we're like, okay. And so it starts and it's like, 2 girls like kissing and then, goes to, sucking on each other's titties and whatever. And we're just like, okay, like whatever, it's not horrible, but
how many girls were there?
I think that there were probably like 5 of us on the couch at that time. Yeah. And then there was that moment, that critical moment when everything went awry and he laughed with such like maniacal joy at just watching us squirm and vomit and gag because it was just the most vile, disgusting thing. Like we were just like, we're just like questioning our existence. Like, what the fuck is wrong with you, Cole? And he just laughed and laughed. And he just like held the laptop in front of us, making sure that we were unable to really, shut it or look away. But yeah, that was a great moment in my youth.
Did anybody run to the bathroom?
I mean, I think I gagged a little bit because you're telling yourself it's not real, but even if it's not real, it still looks like it is, and you're just like you're thinking about what's happening and how vile and disgusting that is, and how it's even possible that some people are into that sexually, and it ruins you. It ruins you. It's never the same.
Most people think it's a comedy, but I would have definitely turned the tables on Cole and stood up and just pulled my pants down and started shitting everywhere.
Yeah, that looking back, that may have been the move, but at the time, that didn't cross my mind.
You never see it in the
remember
time.
Cole just
hindsight is perfect,
belly
right?
laughing,
You
and
ever see the Human Centipede?
Yeah, I know what you're
talking about.
Yeah,
much
yes.
like all your thoughts, whenever you're saying something, I'm thinking of something.
Mm-hmm.
So while you were talking about Two Girls, One Cup,
You're thinking about
the Human Centipede.
Yeah. But this Human Centipede was a lot more sinister in the sense that it wasn't two hot girls, shitting into each other's mouths. All right, Joe, I got to let you go. Spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Two Girls, One Cup, that's the high spot. Joe, thank you so much for calling in. God bless you too, buddy. Oh shit. I fucked up. Listen, guys, I'm not perfect. What's going on? Why is this happening? All right. Sorry, I'm going to hang that up. Please call back. Caller, that was my bad. I really did intend to take that call, but I clearly didn't. 813-90-BUBBA. Yeah, it's bizarre when some of the most defining moments of your life, much like 9/11, maybe if you were around in 1969 when man allegedly landed on the moon, when Kennedy was shot. I heard that's a big one. But I'll never forget where I was when I saw Two Girls, One Cup. I'll never forget it. It was a beautiful moment. It was a horrific moment. It was a hilarious moment. It was a disgusting moment. It was one of those all-encompassing moments where you feel everything at once. Just, what's the word I'm looking for? Like euphoric, I guess, and not necessarily in a good way. But just you feel all the feelings, anger, sadness, joy, comedy, all of the things is just like the full palette of the human emotional experience packed into one disgusting, vile, hilarious, amazing video that just kind of defined a generation. Two Girls, One Cup. Where are those girls now? What was the origin story? I spent many hours after watching that video trying to learn about these people. Who were they? Where were they? Were they bamboozled into this? Were they of sound mind? Is this evidence of soulmates to find two people that love shit as much as they do? How did they meet? Are they still together? How old were they? How old were they when they realized that they loved scat and shitting in each other's mouths? Like, all of those questions I had and did all the research I could, but they were just mystery women. It was hard to really know, who they were, if the video was even real. And again, this was in 2000, I want to say 2007-ish. So this is before deep fakes. Could you fake that? Was it movie magic? Was it not? Did the cameraman or woman throw up? Did they know that was going to happen? So many questions I had when I saw Two Girls, One Cup. It changed me in so many ways to think that people were that vile, but also that destined to be together, and they weren't homely, gross, drug addict looking kind of people. They were hot chicks. How did two hot chicks with nice jugs find each other and connect and go, you know what I'm really passionate about, Cindy? And she goes, what, Sarah? She goes, I'm really passionate about shit. I think shit is hot, even though it makes no sense evolutionarily why anyone would be sexually aroused by feces. But this girl did, and she decided to share that with a friend. And that friend was like, oh my God, I feel the exact same way. Let's make out and shit in each other's mouths and tape it. Yeah, it was a revolutionary cinematic production that changed the lives of many, and I was one of them. I remember, and it's funny because you talk about it when was this? 16 years ago, so long ago, and I can talk to anybody about this that I was with or that's around my age, and wherever you align with politics or the war in Ukraine or immigration or guns or gays or trans or what the vaccine or COVID or whatever, the Chinese. If you just start talking about 2 girls, 1 cup, that's how you bring a nation together. Because everyone was disturbed by that video, but also embraced it. That's how you create unity, is through shared experiences where, you might not be on the same page when it comes to taxes and immigration, but you're on the same page when it comes to people shitting in each other's mouths. You go, I'm going to vote no on that one. No. And you can stand in unity, So after 9/11, I would say the thing that unified this nation the most after that was clearly 2 girls, 1 cup. Where are they now? I don't know. Let's take a call. Hello, who's this?
This is Tony in Tampa.
What's up, Tony in Tampa?
That was the deepest dive.
Thank you.
Into 2 girls in a cup.
Right.
That almost made me want to wonder where all the girls are for Jeffrey Epstein's airplane.
I wanted everyone to just start in a USA chant after I made that speech, because that's I'm going to run for politics. And I'm going to weave that in there.
And I got 2 questions for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, mind you, I've listened to you since you came on to the station. I didn't know you when you were with Johnny B. I think you were with him for a little bit.
Yeah.
But my questions are for you.
Mm-hmm.
And look, I don't want you to get mad at me for asking these questions.
Oh, please.
But
Go ahead.
The 2 questions I have are, if you feel like you've learned a lot from Bubba, that you could go back to Cox and be a better person there, like if Bubba retired, like you could be like, hey, my resume is really good now. I do my own shows. I'm a different person.
Yeah.
And my last question is, and again, don't get mad at me.
Yeah.
Bubba never wants to talk about Blitz, like why he left or where he is and what he's doing. And there's a lot of people that were fans of him. And I am. I actually became a fan of your show because of him. I also have a love for like planes and comic books,
guns,
and just the weird stuff.
Yeah.
And I just love that Blitz does that. And I was just wondering if you could maybe give us a Blitz update, just like if whatever he allows to be said.
Sure.
I envision him becoming a police officer. That was my thought. My wife and I were like, you know what?
He's going to be a cop.
He left to become a cop because he would be such a good one. And I just thought maybe like you have to realize there's a lot of people that were fans of him.
Yeah. And I appreciate the question. We can address the Blitz thing first. Honestly, I can only say as much as I can say, which is, did you follow Blitz on social media? He is on Instagram.
No,
Yeah. So I think he's at Blitz K. And if you want to go reach out to him, I know he's in contact with some people from the Bubba Army. You reach out to him and ask him what he's up to. I feel like I'm not really at liberty to say because he wants to, if he wanted people to know where he was and if he was doing what he's doing, where he's doing it, he would let you know. So that's pretty much as much as I could say. But he looks good. He's healthy. He's happy. He's getting, Do
you ever see him getting back into radio?
I don't know. I don't know. I hope so. I definitely think that he definitely doesn't love it like I love it, but he's good at it. So it's a shame.
Yeah, he's really good.
Yeah, he's good at it. He's fucking funny. Sometimes, and he's stiff. He's real stiff, and don't think he's not like that with me, because sometimes he's fucking stiff, and sometimes that gets him in some hot water. But the more that I spend time with him, the more I appreciate it about him. And I think the thing I love the most about Blitz, well, there's a lot of things. But one of the things that I like about Blitz the most is that the motherfucker is honest, and he'll tell you the truth when you don't want to hear it. And sometimes the truth hurts your feelings. But then when he does throw you a compliment your way, he fucking means it, So that.
My wife called him the cooler version of Spice Boy.
Okay. I don't know if that's really the moniker that he wants, but.
I'm just saying, like, he's got
I never listened to Spice Boy, so I don't really know.
Delivery.
Okay.
Spice had a really good delivery, and but Blitz has that same cadence and that same.
He's dry.
Kind of voice of reason.
He's certainly he's dry, and he knows a lot of shit about a lot of shit. And don't think, and I know I went in this whole tirade about questioning the authorities at B. Don't think that he's not part of that, because a lot of times Blitz will be talking some shit, and sometimes I'll just look at him and I'll just squint. And sometimes they'll break eye contact, and I'm like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, do you? And he's like, well, I think, and then everything starts to unravel. I go, aha, you don't know shit, bitch. And then I go ahead and I fact check, and sometimes he's right, sometimes he's a little off, sometimes he's dead on. But, I always try to shake his confidence because the motherfucker's too confident. So I'll just look at him and I go, oh, really? When did that start? And he goes, And then as soon as he stutters or there's just a second of hesitation, I go, you don't know shit. I'm gonna go and Google this.
You're like an attorney.
Yeah. Because because I don't. What's the word? I don't make anybody into a messiah. Like I'm not like, oh, they're a doctor. They know fucking everything. Like when Dan's in here and he starts talking about stuff, like obviously he knows what he's talking about most of the time, and he's an expert in what he does. But a lot of times we're talking about stuff outside of his field of expertise, and I always just double check. Most of the time, 98% of the time, he's dead on. Not gonna lie, but I always do the due diligence to. As he's talking about something, I'm researching it alongside him. Like when he was talking about the herpes shit, the motherfucker knows his herpes shingles shit. He was dead on, but I'm always looking it up too, just making sure that what he's saying is in fact correct. So that's just how I roll. Whether it be Dan or the president or my boyfriend who knows everything, doesn't matter. I'm always double checking everybody because I just think it's a good habit to have. So.
And what about you, Anna? Could you see yourself going back to Cox after you have your experience here, or would you never be able to do that?
No, I wouldn't. There's just no way they would hire me. It's not even a matter of could I pull it off. I'm not. I definitely don't think that I'm amazing, and I certainly have self-esteem issues because Bubba's always like, don't get a big head. I'm like, I don't think you understand. It's not possible. Like I have low self-esteem, but there's just no way, even if I was qualified and I have all the talent in the world, the fact that I spent even just 3 minutes on Bubba's show, let alone worked for him for the last 3 years after leaving Cox, there's just no way they'd ever hire me back. It would just be a conflict of interest for them. And hey, that's okay. I don't fucking want to go back. The way that things aren't going there now, and trust me, I'm keeping tabs because you always want to think that you traded up. You always look at your ex and you go, "Wow, glad I'm not with that one." And it's funny because actually I looked up where my ex-boyfriend lived yesterday just to see if he still lives at home with his parents, and he does. 7, 8, 9 years later, still there. The one I had in Michigan. So, it's one of those validating things where you go, yep, that was right. Nailed it. Motherfucker was never going to leave home, and he's still there right now. So it was just, one of those things.
And keep up the great job.
Thank you.
That we love him.
All right. I will let him know. Thank you for calling in.
Have a good day.
Appreciate you. Hello, who's this?
Your boyfriend's a thief.
Okay. Hello, who's this?
Hey, what's this, man? How are you doing on that?
What's going on? How's it going?
Good. 2 quick things. I'll be really quick.
Yeah.
I'm not going to mark out as hard as Joe here, but my fiance, she doesn't really listen to the main show that much, but on Fridays, she always listens to the after show because she's a little bit of an on a mark. So.
Oh, that's very sweet. I'm glad she listens.
And credit where credit's due.
Yeah, I'm very humbled by the fact that anybody finds value in anything that I'm saying ever.
She loves you.
Okay, yeah, I really appreciate that. Thank you for calling in to tell me that because I do try to work hard and do stuff off the clock that not that I'm getting paid to do research. I'm not, but I want to come to the table with like, hey, I learned this new shit. What do you guys know about that? Let's investigate together. So I do appreciate you calling in and saying that.
Of course, she loves whenever. You try to correct Bubba and he still says the word wrong, and then you're like, yeah, that's right.
Yep.
Yeah, let's just go with that.
You just lay down and take it. Yeah.
Exactly. Sorry. And 2, just checking in. I mean, we haven't really heard much about Blitz or how he's doing. How's he doing?
He's doing well. I'm sure you were listening to the caller before. He's doing great. Everything's good. He's doing his thing. He is doing all the activities that he loves. And he's happy, he's healthy, and that's really all that you can ask for. And if you want to know more, he is on social media. He's not that hard to find. So if you care to reach out to him,
pictures of the dog.
Well, his dog is dead.
I was looking at his Instagram, and it was just straight pictures of.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably older pictures because he had to put his dog down a couple of years ago. So,
gotcha.
Yes, but every time we see a fucking Doberman, he's got to stop and say hello and pet the dog. So, Yeah, he's still a huge fan of Dobermans. But yeah, he's doing great. And anybody listening, if you want to reach out to Blitz, I'm sure he would appreciate that. But other than that, I kind of got to keep, tight-lipped about everything. Not so much because they're secrets, but just because, listen, I don't want to be telling people stuff that other people don't want, to know. If he wanted to be public about something, he would post about stuff. So I just kind of keep it private because people like their privacy, So.
Oh yeah.
Anyways.
Is there any chance for an appearance at like a 199 or BART?
I don't know. I'm not sure. I can talk to people about that if they want to do that, if they want to come in. He's been very busy lately, so it's been a little bit of an issue, kind of some family stuff going on. But everything's okay. Everything's good. But I'll relay the message for you. But unfortunately, I can't really tell you more than that. Any more than that.
Gotcha.
Just because I don't feel comfortable with it. Not that there's anything to hide, but that's it. All right.
Yeah. That's understandable.
Yeah.
Well, you have a great weekend. Thank you, and God bless.
God bless. Last call. Hello, who's this?
Anna, Brian from Philly. How
What's
you doing?
up, Brian? How's it going? You're going to be my last call of the day, buddy.
I just watched that video, 2 Girls, 1 Cup.
Oh,
Oh my God.
Brian, had you not seen that before?
I never saw it.
What the
Holy
fuck?
shit.
Brian.
Oh, and my girlfriend's coming over in like 2 hours.
Yeah, well, good luck getting that out of your head. Yeah.
Yeah, good luck.
I can't believe you haven't seen it. So, but you know what moment I'm talking about, right? When everything just goes horribly wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could only watch it for like 30 seconds. So you're ruining me. I got a hot date coming over, and now I just got that in my fucking head.
Yeah, well, I mean, I gave you the spoiler alert. I wasn't pussyfooting around it. I was like, it's fucking vile, disgusting, scat shit eating stuff.
I mean,
so
you got to get an infection or sick.
Right. See, when the brain starts churning and you have all these questions. Yeah, exactly. Me too.
Like, can't you die from that?
Right, exactly. That's the smell, how are you not again? Then of course, because you're in such denial, you go, "This is not real. This is this is divorced from reality. This is CGI. This is chocolate pudding. This is whatever." Your brain is like, this can't be real. So I don't know if it is, Brian. I don't know. It's one of the mysteries of the universe, along with the pyramids and Stonehenge and a bunch of other shit. Right. Yeah. Serpent's Mound, all this sort of stuff. And then also add into that 2 Girls, 1 Cup. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, have a great weekend.
Yeah. I'm sorry I did that to you, Brian, but you did it to yourself.
All right, I'll get over. I'll take an extra Cialis.
Okay. I'll take an extra Cialis. That works. It'll get the job done, my friend. It'll get the job done. And that's all for today. I mean, that was a lot of shit, people. No pun intended. You got some Kevin Hazlett. I really miss doing a show with Kevin. Doing the show with Bubba is fun. Don't get me wrong. But this is with Kevin, it just exercises a different part of the brain a little bit, works it out a little bit. Sometimes it gets a little rusty. So Kevin, thank you so much for coming in and staying over for the Anna Hummel Show. Have a great weekend, everybody. I'm trying to think of any, we got Bubba 199 not for another 5 weeks or so. Buy merch. Listen to the podcasts. Subscribe and be a daily downloader. Don't be a selfish bitch. Have a great weekend, though. Be safe. Don't drink and drive. If you do, call Kevin. Just kidding. Have a great weekend. We'll see you later. Goodbye.